In 1798, a group of French soldiers unearth a mysterious stone monolith near the Egyptian town of Rosetta. Napoleon Bonaparte's invasion of Egypt is in full swing. With his army come 151 scholars and scientists. Their mission? To claim the cradle of civilization for France. The black basalt tablet is clearly an object of significance. It is 114 centimeters high, 72 centimeters wide, 27 centimeters thick, and weighs 720 kilos. But it is the writing on it that really interests them. The first two sections are indecipherable ancient Egyptian, but the lower section is obviously Greek. Translating it, they learn the stone tablet is an expression of homage to the ruler of Egypt, Ptolemy. But it is the final sentence that excites them. It orders that the decree be written in Greek and both of Egypt's ancient languages. If the two other sections are translations of the Greek text, then the stone found in Rosetta offers a prospect as simple as it is spectacular. Using the Greek, it should be possible to decipher the two ancient Egyptian texts. The soldiers dispatch the tablet to the French Institute in Cairo. It will soon become apparent that finding the stone was the easy bit. Already hailed as the gem of antiquity, academics eagerly awaited the stone in France. It never arrived. In Egypt, Nelson defeated the French at the Battle of the Nile. With British soldiers at the gates of Cairo, the French petitioned for an armistice that would allow them to keep the Rosetta Stone and other treasures they had acquired. The British commander, Lieutenant General Sir John Healy Hutchison, would have none of it.
Since the fate of arms has decided against you, I demand the execution of the surrender on this point. I demand all these objects, and you may be sure that I shall not let a single part of them leave for France.
The Rosetta Stone arrived in London in 1802. The race to translate it was on. "20 years later, no one knows that Jean-Francois Champollion has finally unlocked the lost language of ancient Egypt. Champollion's fascination with hieroglyphics started when he was just 14. At the age of just 18, he was made professor of ancient history in Grenoble. And the following year, in 1810, he had delivered his first paper on the stone.
The inscription on the Rosetta Stone presents the Greek name of Ptolemy. It could not be expressed in the hieroglyphic part of this monument if these hieroglyphs did not have the power to produce sounds.
not just a written, but a spoken language, Champollion believed that hieroglyphs could create sounds. It was a radical proposition. Today, and Champollion has successfully read a hieroglyph. Quite how remains trapped in his unconscious mind. From reading the Greek section of the stone, it was assumed that the lozenge-like cartouche contained the name of Ptolemy. Champollion believed that the signs in the cartouche each represented a different sound. But he had no idea what each symbol sounded like. To enable and prove the decipherment of a word, Champollion realized that he needed to compare a pair of names in which the same signs recur. Champollion had arrived in Paris in 1821. Broke, alone, and shunned by fellow academics, he still clings to his theory.
I have analyzed this language so much that I could teach it in a single day. I shall prove that words are composed of a series of signs that represent sounds.
On December the 23rd, he celebrates his 31st birthday alone. A simple idea crosses his mind. To count the individual characters in the inscriptions. He works out that 486 Greek words correspond to 1,419 hieroglyphs. It seems to him now obvious. Hieroglyphs cannot represent a full word. Each one must represent a sound, a part of the word. But still he lacked the evidence to prove his theory. The material Champollion so desperately needed arrived earlier today, on the morning of September the 14th, 1822. He receives a letter from his friend, Nicholas Cujo. Cujo has recently returned from an expedition to Egypt, traveling south in the Sudan to the recently excavated ruins of Abu Simbel. Champollion has never been to Egypt. His work has had to rely on other people's accounts. Champollion spots a cartouche amidst the numerous hieroglyphics. He knows from the cartouche of Ptolemy on the Rosetta Stone that these lozenge shapes contain names. Champollion is drawn to one of the individual hieroglyphs, a circle within a circle.
If the circle were the sun, what sound could it represent?
Of all the languages he has studied, Champollion has always believed Coptic, the language of early Christian Egypt, to be closest to ancient Egyptian. In Coptic, the word for the sun is Re. Change the pronunciation of Re slightly, and you have the name of one of Egypt's ancient deities. He thinks he has found a symbol that represents the word for Egypt's sun god in a cartouche. He hazards a guess. If the second sign is an M, and the last two signs are both S, it means he has successfully deciphered one of the most famous ancient Egyptian royal names.
Ramesses! Ramesses!
Ramesses. Champollion has not just found the name of an Egyptian pharaoh. He has done something no one else thought possible. He has read a hieroglyph. His mounting excitement is tempered by the dreadful fear that this flash of inspiration may be a fluke. A lucky coincidence to mock his 22 years of fruitless study. Searching the rest of the drawings sent by Cujo, his eye is caught by another cartouche. Above the same signs that he has just assumed to be an M and an S is a picture of a bird. What sound might that represent? The bird of the Nile is the ibis. And in the ancient world, the ibis was used to represent Thoth, the god of scribes. If the bird is an ibis, then Champollion can read the name in the cartouche.
Tutmosis. Tutmosis.
Another royal Egyptian name. At last, he has confirmed and proved his theory. Hieroglyphs represent sounds, which work together to make words which can be spoken.
Tutmosis.
Champollion spends the next 4 days in bed. But by September the 27th, he will have recovered enough to announce his findings to the Institute of France and the rest of the world. His breakthrough is the first step in the successful translation of the hieroglyphic language of the Rosetta Stone. And will provide the foundation for the subsequent exploration and understanding of life in ancient Egypt.